Cultural imperialism, good or bad? In your reading this week, you're looking at John Tomlinson's writing, Cultural Imperialism. When you read it, you might be like, this is confusing. And it might be, because he's really talking about other people's work in studying the idea of cultural imperialism. So, what really is it? Cultural imperialism, in its definition, is something that John Tomlinson calls cultural homogenization. Did I just use two big words to define each other? Absolutely. Really, what he's trying to get at is that globalization of culture makes everything the same. It homogenizes everything, and it comes from a center, an empire, and spreads all over the world. Cultural imperialism. The Tomlinson piece that you're reading starts with this historical show that many of you will have never heard of. It's called Dallas. Dallas started going on air on TV in 1978, and it ran all the way to 1991. And it was a show about this Texan family, an oil rich family, like an oil tycoon, and they would be feuding with one another, and they were like a soap opera family, and there would be deaths and, like people killing each other for the bottom line of, getting rich. It really was one way, a representation of one type of American cutthroat neoliberal family. Tomlinson goes to see how other scholars have researched the fact that Dallas went global. Over 90 countries all over the world started airing it for a very long time. And many media scholars call this an opportunity to study media imperialism, a la Dallas. Tomlinson writes about a scholar named Ang and her study of how people all over the world consumed the show Dallas. Many people said that it was really their guilty pleasure sitcom. You know what I'm talking about. Those sitcoms, those shows that you watch and you don't tell anybody about. Ang found out that many people around the world viewed Dallas, consumed the show, and actually disagreed with it. Tomlinson argues that instead of cultural homogenization or cultural synchronization, that is a direct threat to cultural autonomy of people all over the world keeping their own cultural values and cultural traits. He argues that Dallas proved otherwise, that maybe cultural imperialism was one way that peoples all over the world could say, hey, we don't believe in those kinds of values. We'd like to see it so that we know where we stand in relation to it, against it, or to reject it. So you have two pieces of the debate here. Some scholars argue that cultural imperialism makes the world the same, with McDonald's, with, TV shows. And other people say that perhaps that is necessary for everyone around the world to say, we'll take what you got and then flip it, remix it, and make it our own, make it better. These two sides of cultural imperialism are something that I want you to think about in this week's reflection.